Canto 7. Dublin City, continued. We had conversed with Mr. Robert Emmet for quite a while, but round us day was dawning. The patriot took his head and bade farewell, and disappeared into the morning mists. I said to Harry Clarke that we could go and take a coach out to Rathfarnam Castle, for Loftus House is long familiar to me, since I lived in its shadow as a child. We knew that there we could meet Fräulein Kauffmann, known as Miss Angel to the crowd in London, for she was on a 6-month trip to Ireland, at least to Dublin, working for Lord Loftus and others of the Anglo-Irish nobles. It is the year of 1771. Will you come with me out to meet the artist? She comes from Chur and can give you some hints of what an artist's life means over there, for life and death is all the one to us. And Harry nodded. I am more than ready to meet an artist of her great renown. That she's from Coire, the city of my death, is something new I had not heard before. Meanwhile a coach appears from out the mist, as if a miracle had brought it here. I tell the cabman just, Rathfarnam Castle, and we get in without much more ado. The coach and four clip-clops through Georgian Dublin, the capital of all that's elegant, and in an hour we're wheeling through the country and pulling up before the Loftus door. Descending from this coach, we climb the steps. A liveried servant opens wide the door. He takes our names and hastens to inform the German lady of our wish to see her. Soon the man's back and leads us to a room, a bright broad room, wherein Miss Kauffmann works. She's lying upon a sofa, looking up upon the ceiling, sketching on her pad. She rises, and we make our bow to her. An artist and a friend of art are welcome to me here any time, so sit you down. You've travelled far from Coire. Now you're in Dublin, I said, and then we had to laugh all three. For we are native sons of this great city, and see the Irish capital as centre, that shaped our art of writing or of drawing, as it has done for many, not just us. We've come from Chur, the place that you are from, because we seek an answer, one of us. He seeks the meaning of the purgatory, in which, condemned beyond all hope to reprieve, he languishes, a corpse without its grave, a spirit of one dead in endless exile. In order to console him, Harry Clarke, this friend and artist whose exile I share, I got him to embark upon a journey, in which we went to Paris, then to Dublin, and here in this great house we stand before you, and hope for friendly words, consoling words, from that great artist that you have become, travelling from land to land. A word of truth, to free him from his hard, peculiar fate. She looked at us long moments, did the painter, as if she now prepared to paint our portrait, placing our earnest forms in light and shadow. I found this searching gaze uncomfortable, but Harry stood and met examination, for he could understand the artist's gaze, which changes human body into spirit, and time into the eternity of art. At last she paused, and then she spoke to us. You gentlemen see me amongst the living. I still pursue my art in lively ways. Yet I belong to death as well, you see. For where and when you live, my time is past. You travelled back as pilgrims to my time, although in your time I no longer live. We speak as comrades in the world beyond, and speak across the gap of centuries, conversing over the abyss of time, and say, Is this not right and true an answer to all the questions you might put to me? We drift as ghosts through time, each one of us, and meeting can converse on art and life. Herr Clarke, you're a stained glass artist, then? I've never tried that. I'm a portrait painter, although my father worked and served the church, and I was his apprentice all those years. The first small work I was allowed to do was an apostle on a church's wall. I know. You've also illustrated books and added to the joy of literature. You are an Irishman of English father, although you happily share our Roman faith. It is not easy to be Catholic among the English with their hate of Rome, and yet a longing for the one true faith remains in them, and all their liturgy still happens in the venerable cathedrals, which a more pious age bequeathed to England. Your father, as I hear, received that call, returned to Mother Church, so that he could devote himself to every sacred art, and dying, he bequeathed all that to you. It chanced that you must meet your death in Coire, after a deadly illness had compelled you to spend a year and more in icy heights, hoping for healing, though 'twas all in vain. You found there no eternal resting place, and wandered like a ghost that haunts the living all over Europe till you came to me. Dear Mr. Clarke, are we two not alike? By chance I happened to be born in Chur. By chance you happened, friend, in Chur to die. We are both bound to a far distant city, with which we precious little have in common. I know, death is a very serious business. When you lie in a foreign place, you are condemned to an eternal exile. Your story is particularly sad, for you were even denied abiding rest. Unworthily they took you from your grave, and laid your body down among the nameless. In Chur, therefore, there is no rest for you. You only haunt the place, a wandering ghost, a suffering soul in a cold purgatory, not used to all an alpine winter brings. She had tears in her eyes, the kindly lady, for she could understand all human pain, so that she had to take a moment's pause. Then she consoled him further. You must know, exile is such a burden, Mr. Clarke. I have spent my whole life, that one can say, in exile only, for my father was a wandering artist. When I was a child, we often moved from town to town, and Chur was only the beginning. Italy was where I grew and learned to be an artist. The English gentlefolk I got to know there invited me to London. Joy and sorrow have been my lot in that great capital. Now I am on a visit here to Dublin, at Viscount Loftus' house, and who can say where fate inscrutable will bring me next? Friend Harry was in London several years. He liked it there, I think, I said to her, and Harry nodded, smiled a vacant smile, as if he hardly could remember now the things he had experienced in those days. After this trip I should go back to London, but London will not keep me all my life. For Wanderlust will call me soon enough, and I will go back to those southern places where art can feel at home, unlike the north, where she is no more than a pampered guest. Dear Mr. Clarke, I would now have you know, London is not the world, although it is great, rich, and lovely, and for Englishmen, like Dr. Johnson, the true core of Europe. At any rate, I've said, the artist's life is always life in exile. Hopefully, one finds one's start in life and first success at home, and learns to exercise the craft. But if one wants to aim at great commissions, one must be ready to pursue them far. You speak true, Miss Angelika, said Harry, for he could feel the need now to respond, and spoke at last, after an anxious silence. I would have been prepared to travel Europe, or even the New World, and not confine myself to London, charming though it was. Yet in the end it was my failing health that caused me to see Europe and to travel. Because of this, 'twas in a foreign land I died a bitter death. You know about it. In Chur, the very place where you were born, I found out later. And I could not work, because I lacked the time and energy required of me if I were to create. For me, you see, the Grisons, Chur, Davos, were just a snowy path I had to take, lost in those woods, for I had not a patron or church there to commission work from me. The day I died in Chur, I was in flight. I hoped to find my way back into life, but little did I know I was too late. Now I am dead, but lack a dead man's rest. Being dead, I can no longer be an artist. I wander by ways of eternity in this cold in-between world. There will come no further work of art from my chilled hand. The kindly woman sighed. Dear Mr. Clarke, she said, forever oscillates the artist twixt life and death, time and eternity. Our lives, be they long lives or only short, are rooted in this earth, and we immortals, who are remembered over centuries, belong to our peculiar generation, which comes and goes. We work as best we can, then we are finished as mere human beings, and we must cross into eternal life. Yet our creative work, be it great or small, is now posterity's. Such a long time. But also to the ages far ahead, of which we can have no idea, being souls bound to time. And so, you see, we die, and can contribute nothing more to art. But in our lifetime's works, we still live on. New generations rise and contemplate them, subjecting them to fresh interpretations. Through all these works we artists are exposed to all the vagaries of human judgment. We may live much admired, then to be despised, and sometimes just neglected and forgotten, as interests change and centuries go by. So be content to live on in that world, that in-between world that you know in Chur, in your death rest that knows no rest in Chur. From now on you can count as the forerunner of all those artists who have learned from you, the legacy of your artistic work. You are the proud ancestor of them all. This friend, and other friends of all fine arts, will honour and accompany you for always. In deepest winter, on the day you died, they shall light candles and lay floral wreaths upon your grave among the nameless dead. In summer, when the pastures on the Alps are blooming, pilgrims will flock to the place, the better to adorn your grave with violets. And doubt not that I too shall present be, as muse, watching the grave and blessing it. Are you that muse, then? Asked a wondering Harry. Yes, we do that as a second job, we women artists. I, Miss Angelika Kauffmann, am also Iphigenia, this the role that Goethe, when in Rome, for me designed, and I'm the muse who now presides above the grave of the unknown and half-forgotten. She bowed her head. I had the definite thought that everything she had to say to us had now been said, and it was time to go. We must depart, dear Harry, said I to him, and start on our long journey back to Chur, the place we both belong, you as a ghost, and I as one still living. Are you ready? He shivered and just nodded. With deep bows to Miss Angelika, we took our leave. We quit the airy, bright room where she worked, and Henry Loftus Castle in Rathfarnam. We took the coach and 4 back into Dublin. We could not the temptation quite withstand to take a stroll or two in our old city. But as the curtain of the dark came down, we started on our voyage overseas, across the continent, till we reached Chur.